What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Pros and Cons. Man United were in Copenhagen last night, dying for 3 points. We needed a win away at that ground to have any kind of chance of progressing through the Champions League. Not that we're completely out of it now, but we needed to win. It was a must-win for Manchester United, and it seemed like it was going to be a comfortable win for at least 42 minutes until Marcus Rashford gets sent off, and then shit completely hits the fan. There's chaos, and yet again, after a Manchester United game, there's a million questions with zero answers. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let's take a closer look at the positives and the negatives of the game. Make sure you get involved in the comments section, leave a like on the video, and let's dive into it together. So after another controversial game full of decisions, Erik ten Hag came out after it and said, not only tonight, we have to deal with many decisions against us in other games. That's how it is. And it certainly feels like that. You know, when you look at the stat, I think we put something up on our Instagram about how many decisions have gone against us. It was like -5, the most in the league, which is bizarre because I thought Wolves would have the most, but apparently we have. And then that's kind of carried over into UEFA, and we've spoken about this numerous times in the Premier League. It's been absolutely horrendous. And European football was kind of like, oh, they get it right. The offsides they get right. The handballs are a little bit flaky, but you know, most of the decisions they seem to be fine with. And then Marcus Rashford gets sent off in a way where he was clearly trying to control the ball. He was using his body. He's planting his foot as that kind of, that's my stance there. I'm shrugging you off. And where he plants his foot, obviously the opposition's foot happens to be, and it looks like he's intentionally kind of like stamping on his ankle, especially when you pause it. And the first thing that the referee sees when he goes over to that screen is the foot on the ankle. Not even in slow motion, still image on the worst possible bit. Like, football isn't played like that. So why are they reviewing it? Why is that the first thing that's influencing it? It's very, very bizarre to me. There's no malice or intention at all. There's a lot of people in the comments saying, it's a straight red. It's a straight red. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what game you lot are watching. I really, really don't. Because that is a red card. That isn't a red card, sorry. For me, it's a yellow. And then, yeah. I don't know, I've seen that happen a million times and it not get given, especially in the Premier League, but this is UEFA, so fuck knows. We then have multiple handball decisions, which I mentioned before, that they're just so fucking flaky to me. To give that where Maguire's kind of holding the guy and it hits like that bit of his arm. Even Copenhagen's. The only reason why I was screaming at the TV for us for a penalty was because you give the Maguire one. I was like, well, if you're going to give that, you have to give the other one, and then there's a form of consistency then, but just that they're so flaky. Then there's a situation where Copenhagen score and one of the players, can't remember his name, is in the direct eye line of Onana. So Onana's like that. He's literally stood in front of him. The goal goes in. He doesn't even see where it's going. And they don't even check that. They don't even pull that up. Whether it's clear and obvious, I fucking know. No one has a clue these days. There was a situation where Wan-Bissaka give fucking Onana a penalty pass, and people were talking about whether that was out or not. I'm not entirely sure. I need to go back and watch that. And then there was the guy who was on the yellow card who elbowed Højlund in the back of his head. Didn't review that. Didn't think to look at it. Thought, no, that's fine. Don't worry about that. So there is a serious form of injustice going on at the moment for Manchester United, and the officials just aren't getting it right. And it's not. Let's be clear. It's not just United. I'm not just wondering about it. It's every decision. Like, the Tottenham game that's just gone, literally, recently. There's numerous games this season where they have absolutely fucked up. This has been the worst season for VAR by a long stretch. I don't know nothing's going to happen to sort of. They probably won't even amend it until the new season starts. But by that point, a lot of teams have lost points, have been knocked out of tournaments. Like, it's a huge issue and it needs to be sorted. Individual fucking errors. Every single week I'm saying this. Wan-Bissaka with a heavy pass to Onana. People were trying to blame Onana like it was his fault. Like, come on, mate. He fucking blasted it about 50 mile an hour and it's expected to control it. That leads to a corner. Dalot switches off 3-3. Varan's pass to Maguire leads to giving the ball away in United's half. Eventually, they go and score 4-3. We heard that after the Brentford game. Do you remember? Casemiro gives it away in our half and then they go and score. Individual mistakes again and again. And again, this is repetitive behaviour. Look at all of our group. Not even to forget the Premier League for now. Look at the Champions League group and how many mistakes we have given away. Just go and analyse it. Because I watched the highlights back of each game. And I was like, fuck me. You do not help yourself, Manchester United. There's too many goals as well. Not tracking runners. Not covering the back post. Giving the ball away in stupid areas. At the highest level, you will get punished. And we find ourselves in this position now. mainly because of individuals and stupid fucking decisions. Rafael Varan has checked out. Johnny Evans came off with an injury in the 16th minute yesterday, which meant Ten Hag had to turn to a centre-back he's not on the best kind of page with at the moment, due to him being dropped in the Manchester derby, and Rafael Varan wasn't happy about that. And then from the get-go, you could see his body language, his attitude. He just looked frosty on the sideline. Didn't really acknowledge Ten Hag or anything like that, just came on, and then you could just see, like, he was just visibly, like, his blood was boiling. He was pissed off about something. And then the manner in which the mistake happened, where he gets past the ball, he's got acres of space, right? I've got a picture here, look at that, acres of space. And instead of being calm, controlled, maybe go out to the right back or, you know, go back to the keeper or go, he kind of just lunges at it, like toes it, like you'd see in like a Sunday League game, and then gives it away. And then there's a few phases of play, and then they end up scoring. So it's not directly from that mistake, but doing that puts us straight back under pressure, back under the cosh when, you know, we could have just kept hold of it. And effectively, that last goal loses us the game. So I don't know what's going on with Varan at the minute. I have a feeling it's done. That's another relationship that's kind of gone. You've got Sancho on the sidelines. That's obviously happened with Varan. Casemiro wasn't happy at some point. I'm sure Mason Mount isn't happy. Like, some players are kicking up a fuss. And I'm not sure who I kind of side with, to be honest with you, because I get both perspectives. But I'm sure Saudi will come in for a few of them anyway, and they'll come calling for your Sanchos and your Varans and your Marshalls, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens in January. The knockout stages in the Champions League are now in doubt. We're currently bottom of the group with 3 points. We have an away visit to Galatasaray where we've never won before, and we need a win. And then we have a dead rubber match against Bayern Munich, whose second string team would still probably paste us at Old Trafford. So it's a huge mountain to climb. We've heard that saying before. Mountains are there to be climbed. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, PSG. I mean, I think Bruno said it in a fucking in an interview yesterday. So look, we're not incapable of doing it, but judging off our form this season, it's a big ask. And to be honest, I'm slightly pessimistic anyway about the future in the competition and going forward, because even if we was to advance, the way we're playing at the moment, it's pointless. We are never going to win the Champions League with the football that we're playing. It sounds, like I said, it sounds really pessimistic, but for the reasons I give before, when you come up against the big boys, you're going to get absolutely slaughtered. Copenhagen beat us yesterday, and we could talk about red cards, etc., whatever. We got beat off Galatasaray. Like, we're just not at the level at the moment. So this group, we're looking at it, we should be comfortably second. When we was discussing it, you know, some of us saying we'd win the Champions League, but the fact that we've conceded 11 goals, 2 red cards, 4 penalties along the way tells you everything you need to know about our campaign in the Champions League. I'd rather just not be in any competition in Europe at all. I don't want to drop down into the Europa or the fucking Conference League or anything like that. So I want to advance, and if we get knocked out in the knockout stages, you know, it is what it is, and we can kind of have a week between games then. Okay, let's talk about some positives then, because there were some positives. So, yeah, I'm not going to be all fucking miserable and gloom and it's raining and blah, blah, blah. Let's have a little bit of sunshine, shall we? So, Højlund is the top scorer, or joint top scorer, I think, with Alvaro Morata in the Champions League. Yet again, another Champions League night where Højlund's performance is overshadowed by incompetence, really, and chaos. I thought he was brilliant again, clinical, off-the-ball work, linking play, running in behind, just causing problems in general, back at where it all started for him, which was amazing. Was a huge night. And to be top scorer in the Champions League in this team cannot be understated. It's a fucking achievement on his own. He should have a trophy now to say, wow, you know what I mean? He's been unbelievable in this competition. It's not quite worked in the Premier League yet. I do think that'll come. And I've said it numerous times before, I think we have a real gem here, and I don't want him to be dampened by the environment. Because what we do at United, we bring players in who are talented, and then we drag them down to our level. Remember Bruno Fernandes, his first season? And look how he's playing now. Like, he's still okay. He's been all right. I'm going to talk about him in a moment. But we really do drag players down. He needs a supply line around him. If you supply him, that kid will score goals. I've said it multiple times. If you put him in a settled team right now, he's bagging for fun. He's in double figures. Easy. I fully believe that. But we are not doing him service at all. And maybe it'll come. Maybe it'll come in time, but I'm a little bit worried about him at the moment. But this positive might be a bit controversial, but I thought the performance and tactics were better. I know we lost the game, but I thought for 40-odd minutes, we looked comfortable, easy. Was playing, knocking the ball about, really, really nice. There was chunks of positives in that for me. We had the perfect start, controlled, measured, didn't look uncomfortable. Ten Hag tweaked a couple of things that looked like they was working. The wing-backs were decent. I thought Wan-Bissaka and Dalot were having good games. But their individual mistakes overshadow what they've done. And then the midfield, as jaded as as it was or as it is, didn't get cut through as much as we have been in the past. Like I said, it weren't amazing, but obviously we have to take Eriksen off then when Rashford gets sent off, and then we have to change a couple of things, and then the whole game plan goes to shit, doesn't it? But I fully believe we would have had 11 men who stayed on that pitch. If Rashford would have stayed on that pitch, sorry, I thought we would have been all right. Looked like a very comfortable. It was going to be a 3-4-0. There was patterns of play. Collectively, we dug in as a team. There was mentality there, but people won't remember these things. They'll just remember, obviously, the scoreline and the mistakes that happened, which I don't blame them for at all. But I could see a better performance than previous games, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. Bruno Fernandes, much better. Scored an important penalty at the time to get us back into the lead when we went back to 2-2. Wasn't as wasteful with the ball, was knitting play really well. Sent the ball through for Garnacho, who should have squared it to Højlund, but shot, and then Højlund ultimately scored. And you can never doubt his commitment, was giving his all. It wasn't a 5-star performance, but he's improving, and that's what I want from my captain. I've criticised him so many times on this pros and cons, but last night, I don't think he was the issue. He stepped up with a penalty, like I said, in a big moment, scored a fucking wonderful penalty. Maybe sometimes he overdoes it with the pressing. I think he's like running near left back. I'm like, mate, you need to be a little bit more disciplined. I get you trying to work hard for the team, but you need to be measured in your pressing. And he wants to put the work in, but sometimes it's, like I said, I get he wants to try and put the work in, but sometimes it's not disciplined, and then teams exploit that space, especially when you're down to 10 men as well. You need to be like, right, cool it down a little bit, Bruno. But you can never doubt his commitment and cause to the club. Yeah, it's one thing with Bruno I admire. So it's looking likely that Manchester United probably won't win the Champions League this season, like some idiot said. I'm not opposed to the idea of having a week's rest between games. I think we probably need it. When you look at the injuries and the form that we've been in, it's probably best for us, to be honest with you. And I know, again, it sounds negative, but I just think we need that kind of rest in between games, and we need players to come back. And when we're playing that load of games per week, the players are kind of crumbling a little bit, aren't they? And we're having to rotate in a lot of areas, and we find no consistency. So maybe that will be the silver lining if we was to go out of the Champions League. But let me know your thoughts on the game as a whole, the referee decisions, individual performances, what changes you would make going forward. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of the pros and cons. Please do leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We have James on tonight at 7 o'clock from the Muppeteers, who's very informed on Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and everything that's going on with Manchester United. So we're going to pick his brain about Varan, Mount, what's going on at the club with Murtagh, Arnold, Sir Jim, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you come and tune in for that. And yeah, we'll see you shortly. See you in a bit.